Hello, beautiful people. I am Tanish, your favorite virtual embroidery coach. This is my first studio vlog, so I am so excited about today's video because I have something really fun planned for us to stitch. And if you do not know me, please go look at my socials. They are right here. One of the things that you know about me, if you have followed me for a while, is that I love like mixed media embroidery. So I love adding sequins to my embroidery. I love adding HTV. I've finally started experimenting more with creating custom pieces that involve 3D puff. I'm all about decorative embroidery. So we are going to make a game day shirt, but we will be using this sequence right here. Now I do, in some of my Instagram videos, I do show you guys how to embroider with sequins because it is very tricky. I will be making a long form video very soon. We are not going to embroider sequins into the sweatshirt. We are going to cut away the sleeves and make sequin sleeves. So let's head over to my computer and get started. My apologies for kind of just jumping right into this, but the image that I used was from the internet and it had a watermark. So I didn't want the watermark on this video. What you guys see me doing right now is selecting the type of feel that I want. I wanted this football to mimic a leather look. So I did end up going with the scales feel. Then next I am going to put in the density that I want as well as the stitch length that I want. While this is not a full tutorial, I do want to show you guys the settings that I am using within the software. Right now I am adding a satin stitch around the outline of the football, and then I am going to work on sequencing because when you digitize something, you do want it to stitch continuously if there is no change in color. My football is looking a little lopsided, so at this point I am going to shape the nodes to look more like a football. Now it's time for me to fix the fill stitches. You can really ruin a design if you just keep layering on top of layering with digitizing. So the outer portion of the white in the football, there are fill stitches on top of fill stitches. So I am going to combine the designs so that there is almost like a hole, and the brown will stitch and then the white will stitch, but it's not stitching on top. But again, this is not a digitizing tutorial, so I'm not going to go too much into digitizing because there's so many different layers. I do have a digitizing course if you guys are interested, but this is how the design looks in my software. I am going to hoop this shirt using my 8x13 Mighty Hoop. If you use my name, you can get free shipping with Mighty Hoops. And the shirt that I'm using is from Lane 7. So this shirt will be for me. I'm using a size small, but I don't wear a size small. I can wear a size medium or a size large. I've made this shirt before and it doesn't look right if it's too like oversized or like big. It'll just kind of look hangy. And that's not the look that we are going for with Lane 7. For me, I really love their merchandise. However, sometimes the embroidery tends to sink in a little bit because this is a very soft fleece. And I like to use a piece of solvy topping just so my stitches won't sink in so much. But if you do know me, you do know that I overuse solvy. So I'm just gonna let you guys know that right now. I love solvy. It's just something about it that makes your stitches pop out. All right, this is hooped. My design is digitized, so let's take it to the machine. I have two Melco EMT 16Xs and I love these machines. I couldn't have chosen a better machine for myself. I have zero complaints about this machine. This one is down right now, but through fault of my own. I had a really not bad needle break. I mean, I'm at a point now I can troubleshoot on my own. However, it is jammed and I am going to call in a little bit later today to get them to help me get this jam out because it just won't move whatsoever. And this machine, actually both of my machines need some maintenance. I'm changing out the bobbin because this is pretty stitch heavy. I am the type of embroiderer. I do tend to go towards bigger, more complicated designs. I mean, I always hear other people saying how embroidery is getting saturated and blah, blah, blah. But you know, it's really your job to make your design stand out. So I am all about making my designs stand out, making my designs different, and digitizing my own designs so that the shop next door, they're not selling the same thing that I sell. So let's put my bobbin in. Let's get this shirt hooped. Make sure nothing's tucked under, and let me pull up my design on the computer. Let's go into the Melco software. The newer Melcos, like the Melco Summit, they do have the touch screen, but the EMT 16Xs, they run off of your computer. It is a very simple football, pretty stitch heavy. The Melcos knock these stitches out with no problem whatsoever. This is stitching at 1100 stitches per minute, and it's taking about 40 minutes. Let's go. My design is finished. It took about 50 minutes. And it is stunning. All right, I'm just going to cut these 2 little jump stitches. I did digitize it in a way that they were very minimal jumps. I don't see anything else to cut, so let's get the solvy off. And this is such a beautiful design. I did try to mimic, you know how the football's leather and it gives like, that leather has that texture. So I did mimic that. All right, got the hoop out. And now let's cut the stabilizer out. I did use 3-ounce cutaway stabilizer. And if you guys you can always tell good digitizing by how something looks on the back. There are pretty much no flaws. Actually, you can even see, so the back of your embroidery will tell a story. So right now, I ran out of bobbin right here. You can actually see that where I ran out of bobbin and where I replaced it with a new bobbin. That's crazy. So if you are looking for a digitizer, check their work, or if you buy something from them, flip it over just to see how it stitches, because the back will always tell you. Be a little cautious when cutting this away. I can't tell you how many times I have snipped my own stitches, and it's always so sad whenever I do it. Let's move on to the sleeves. So I'm basically going to cut these sleeves off. This is a size large sleeve. I want my sequence fabric to fit exactly in this armhole. So I am looking for the seams. I want to cut on the inside portion of the seams. So I'm just going to grab 2 pins so that I won't get movement while I'm trying to cut. So I'm just following along the seam line. And my sleeve is off. You also want the cuff as well. So I'm gonna cut about 1/2 inch or so away from the seam line. So we need this, we're gonna put this to the side. So again, I'm just gonna pin right here and right here. Take my pin out. And now I'm gonna cut off my cuff about 1/2 inch. All right, so this is what I am left with. I don't know if you guys can see it. We are going to start by folding that sequence fabric in half and creating that fold that we need. We are going to match the sweatshirt fold to the fold that is on the sequence fabric. You do need a sleeve pattern, but for now I am just cutting these rectangular shapes, and I'm gonna go back a little bit later to make the patterns. And that is because I need the sleeves to be accurate and have a perfect fit. And before I start cutting this sequence fabric, I just want to do a quick measure. I need my sequins from this top point, and in order for it to fit, I need to cut this right here part off and then go along here. So I'm actually cutting off a lot of fabric. I wish it was a way to save more of this sequence fabric, but I will keep the straps and use it a bit later. All right, I'm just going to pin the sequence fabric in a few places so that I don't get any movement. And keep in mind, I want the space from here to here, and remember it curves in, so I'm going to leave a little extra room. I'm probably going to go out to this point right here. It needs to fit perfectly so that the sweatshirt won't buckle, because this sweatshirt material is really stretchy versus the sequence has a little bit of stretch, but the stretch is only going in one direction. All right, let's do it. So I am cutting slightly, well, more than slightly. I am cutting bigger because I can always cut away, but I cannot add fabric. All right, I cut off a little bit more. I'm gonna take this to the sewing machine and we're gonna sew right sides together. And we are only sewing the inner arm portion that goes right here to the armpit. So this section right here would be the armpit. So we're gonna pin here, 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 and I'm gonna add like 2 more pins, and we're gonna sew both of the sleeves this way. So remember, we are creating that inner arm portion seam that goes from the wrist to the armpit. Now, usually I would use my Juki TL 2010, but I need to take that in. So I am going to use my old Essie 1900. This is a sewing and an embroidery combo. I love my machine. This is the perfect starter machine if you're going to be adding sewing to your projects. If you don't plan on sewing, then I would just recommend getting the PE 900. So let's turn this on. I do have the sewing unit attached. All right, so I am going to set my stitch length to, I'm just gonna make it a 3 because this is a heavier fabric. And the needle that I have in right now is a titanium universal 16/100 needle. Now, I didn't know that I had accidentally put this needle in here, but it has been sewing the sequence just fine. But I would recommend the 9014 needle. And if you happen to have 16/100, needles, then you can use those as well. This was my first time using this size needle, but it's doing fine. So remember, we are sewing the sleeve part, just the inner seam right here, and then we're gonna pin it to our sweatshirt. All right, it's heavy sequence, so take your time. It's not a race to see who can sew the fastest. We don't want any broken needles or anything like that. You're always gonna start off by back stitching. Make sure you are grabbing the other side. I'm slowly feeding it through and taking out the pins as I am going along. But if you take your time, you'll get through it. And remember, I'm only going to sew to the armpit area because for this part that curves around like the shoulder, we are going to pin it to the sweatshirt. So I am about to get ready to stop. Now I'm gonna back stitch. So this is how it will look. It's a little big. I may need to take it in a little bit. I don't know if I want it. I want the sleeves, the sequin sleeves oversized, but I don't want it like too big. So now I'm just gonna sew the other sleeve and start pinning to the sweatshirt. All right, so I have flipped my shirt inside out. So we have right sides together. I'm gonna stuff my sleeve inside. I am going to match seam to seam, or try the best. Just try my best. Here's the top part. I'm gonna start pinning. I'm gonna sew on the sequence side. So I'm just pinning around. Right sides are together. All right, let's go over to the machine. So this is basically how it's looking. My seams are a tad bit off, but it'll be okay. I'd rather for the top part to look perfect. So I'm not gonna worry too much about the inner seam. So now I am just going to start sewing. I have a 3.0 stitch length. I'm gonna take my time because I want this part to look nice. And it's a bit more challenging when you're not sewing on an industrial machine. So I'm just gonna kind of guide everything around. All right, let's see how this looks. This is how it's looking so far. I'm gonna go ahead and do the cuff of this sleeve right here, and then I'll go back and do this sleeve and the cuff. So I'm gonna show you guys how I pin the cuff on. So let me flip this back. This is the inner portion of the cuff. So we need right sides together, and here's the seam. So I don't want any of this shown, so I'm probably gonna sew right along here. But I'm not gonna be able to see it, so I'm just going to need to feel to find the proper placement. So this is how I'm pinning it, and I wanna sew right above this line right here. I'm only gonna do 4 pins. Oh, let's get it up under there. This area is really, really tight. So just gotta do our best. Where that serger line is, I'm gonna sew about a little less than 1/4 of a centimeter away from that line. I'm gonna back stitch. All right, here is the moment of truth, you guys. I'm just going to do the other arm and I will show you the final results. I have finished sewing everything together. I have not looked at it yet, but I am going to flip this right now. And then I'm going to go try this on for you guys. But this right here, with the holidays coming up, you could change the colors to red or green. You could put a Christmas tree as a design. With Halloween, the same thing. You can do black, you could do the Halloween colors. But it's just a way to really make your embroidery design stand out. So like my customers, they won't be surprised seeing something like this from me because this is my typical style. So sleeves. And now you are game day ready to watch football with your spouse or go out to, I don't know, dinner, a bar or something, you know, hang out with your boyfriend while being in the game day spirit. So let's go try this on. Oh my goodness. I love this so much. Now, personally, I think that the shirt is stunning. I think that this can be done a lot of different ways with the different seasons that are coming up. I want to do one with a Christmas tree, maybe 3 small Christmas trees, but they're all different. I might add like red sequins to the sleeves. I might try this on a hoodie. I mean, this is an item that has a higher price tag because it is customizable and you're adding sequins to the sleeves. It's really not that hard to sew the sleeves on. If you already sew, then this is such easy money that you guys could be making. I want to add these to my shop as well. So if you guys make these, tag me on Instagram and Facebook and TikTok and I will post your creations. Let me know if this was something that was easy and that you guys will be adding to your shop. So don't forget to hit the bell so that you guys can be notified whenever I post another video. I think that next week's video will be another studio style vlog, or it may be a mini digitizing tutorial. I'm not sure. If you guys have any requests, please leave them below. And until next time, I will see you guys. Bye.